I'm Daryl Della from Dollars and Donuts Productions. On November 29th, 2019, my father, Hank Della, passed away at the age of 61. It was a profound loss for myself and the family, but also for Dollars and Donuts. My dad was a major inspiration to me in becoming a filmmaker. Growing up, he would introduce me to all his favorite movies, with each screening preceded by my dad explaining who directed the film, why the film was important, what was going on in the world at the time it was released, and what was going on in his life when he first saw the film. I didn't realize it at the time, but it was the best film school anyone could ask for. I learned so much about cinema and the world, and most importantly, my dad. But aside from just inspiration, my dad was also our screenwriter. He had written his own scripts and stories his entire life. So when I started taking this whole filmmaking thing more seriously, it made sense to ask him to write for us.
One of the first questions I get asked from people who kind of ask me about movies and what we do is, who writes your stuff? I feel like I was very spoiled with being able to really utilize Hank as a resource for making movies. Tell him, here's an idea of what we want, and then 1 month, a couple months later, there's a script. For me, the exciting part about doing all of this is being able to work with talented people and more importantly, working with people that I admire. I get to tell people, it's my friend's dad writes most of our stuff. So the Dead Right story is about two brothers who are just out to get each other. At the time, I was trying to look deeper into it because Hank wrote it. So I remember I asked him if he had relationships like this or whatever, and he just laughed at me. He says, no, I just wanted to see something bloody and gruesome and some action.
First thing that comes to mind when I think of Hank is after the premiere of a movie called The Alibi, he came up to me, and the nicest thing he said to me was, "You're the only good actor in any of these movies." And it's one of the best compliments anybody ever gave me, because I always thought so, but it was when the guy who wrote the movie actually says that to your face, made me feel good.
I never really thought of it as like acting out the words of my friend's dad. I saw Hank as like a real writer, right? He wrote our screenplays. These ideas were birthed in his mind. Some of them specifically for me too. He told me that.
But I remember the first time meeting him was at the Dead Right 2 premiere, and this blue-eyed lady killer came up to me, and he was like, "Hey man, dude, you're really good as news Bobo. You're like so creepy and everything." And I was like, "Oh, thanks, man." And then I saw him standing next to Daryl, and it's his dad. They look alike.
A lot of people, when you tell them that you want to make a movie, you want to be an actor, they're like, a lot of people try to do that. Hank wasn't one of those guys, he's always encouraging. It's nice to have people that believe or that want to help you make something.
I remember when he had initially written No Pill for Regret, I was driving home from work or something and I get a call from my dad. And he was all excited and hyped up, and he goes, "Oh, I just finished a new script for Daryl, and I have a part for you." "Okay, Dad, cool. What is it?" He goes, "You're gonna be beaten to death with a shovel." Really? He goes, "Yeah." I was like, all right. He was super hyped about that.
And then when we would talk about movies, I would always see Hank's personality. His eyes would light up because you could see he had a passion for it.
Some of the reward that I would get is when he would get to see it. And it's always nice to hear compliments, but from Hank, it was also fun for him to kind of make fun of it.
He got a real kick seeing everything on the screen, seeing what he poured his heart and soul out into, and see it come to life. And you see him at the premieres. It really put a big smile on his face. He was always proud of Daryl.
And Hank always had stories. He had funny stories, like crazy stories from back in the day. And then you could tell that he had so much passion for life. Whether it be the filmmaking that we did, whether it be just arguing about whatever, like always having like some opinion on something.
So yeah, we did a movie really long time ago called Ninja Kill Phase Part 2 is our second movie.
Daryl, are you gonna show him on the tram? Because you should get some shots of this tram and everything that you can cut in with it. You know, establishing shots of the tram coming up and cut to him inside and stuff.
So when we drove back from Tahoe after shooting Ninja Kill Face, my most special memory I think I had of Hank was I was sitting in the front seat and I got to talk a lot to him about movies. He kind of opened up a little about why he likes Westerns so much and all the themes and I kind of learned a lot too, just have him telling me what everything meant throughout the whole journey. So I feel like that was very special. I learned a lot about him and I learned a lot about storytelling.
Whenever I got a script and I knew Hank wrote it, there wasn't ever a concern that as an actor I wouldn't have something to work with. There was thought and there was a methodology to his writing, and you can feel that.
As Dollars and Donuts progressed in the level and the quality of the film, the scripts progressed, right? Because then Hank had to like step it up. Okay, shit, that was great. Now I need to make it even better. Then he'd tell me, okay, I'm writing this part, or I got this idea, and like I think you'd be great for it. Then I'm like, okay, and then that puts more pressure on me to then like live up to that.
His dialogue that he wrote, I remember being very distinct.
Like he had a very particular dark sense of humor that went along with more serious subject matter that became what Dollars and Donuts is, I think. Like it was okay to be inappropriate.
What the fuck is my dick, man? It's like certain words still stick out in my mind, like in the alley, you can't break me, Lieutenant, I'm unbreakable. And I was like, dude, these lines are just phenomenal to work with.
I remember the line about eating clarified butter. I had to look up what clarified butter was, but maybe that's just me being just stupid. I don't know.
It was a phenomenal experience to kind of build a relationship with the writer, right? The architect of everything behind the scenes.
Filmmaking seems to be, I guess, like something of a tradition, you could say, throughout the family, because as far back as I can remember, there was always some type of camera around, documenting, filming, everything.
Meanwhile, back in the bedroom with Daryl. Well, I fucked it up.
I could go all the way back to our dad's Super 8s, and you could see that he was making movies with my Aunt Vicky.
Go get him, hard ass.
My Auntie Donna. There was always kind of like the theme of us killing off all our friends and family. That seems to be prevalent throughout all the generations. It's always pretty fun.
In 1964, I moved into Holly Avenue, right across the street from the Della family, and watched little Hank at 5 years old grow up. I was fortunate enough to know him and grew up around him. You know, when he started writing movies, he had us, him and his father and I were in this one movie that he had. And there was a part in there where his father was supposed to say the fuck word. Well, he didn't. And Hanky, at 15, I think he was either 14 or 15, walked over there, grabbed his father by the collar and said, look it, what I write, you say. And trust me, when it came my turn, I said what he wrote with no problem.
Back in the 70s, we used to make movies with Hank, Dirty Harry movies.
His favorite actor was Clint Eastwood. He did a lot of Clint Eastwood stuff.
He idolized Clint Eastwood, so anything he did was like Clint Eastwood did in the movies. It was unbelievable. We were terrorizing South San Francisco with the trucks and all the shooting and everything like that. It was a blast. And I forgot I even did part of this stuff. I look at the old movie and I go, was that me? Wow, I had hair and everything.
You can at least say thank you. It wouldn't kill you to be polite. I'd much rather say thank you to a raise and a promotion.
All of a sudden I'm in one part and then I'm in another part, and so was Mitch, and so was everybody except for, of course, for Hank. He was Dirty Harry, period.
If you want my badge, you can have it.
And when Hank came after me, Dirty Harry came after me, went over the top in the quarry, the chase in the quarry. I think we were really throwing punches at each other, but I think actually I wasn't allowed to hit Hank, but he could hit me, so it was okay. We did it that way because I could take it, and I didn't want to hurt him. It was funny that, you know, Hank wrote the movie and directed it, and then 40 years later, we did a movie called The Old Timers, and Hank wrote the movie, but Daryl directed it. 40 years later, we're still roughhousing, and they're still throwing me around and punching me and stuff. But it's okay. I can handle it.
Everything always seems to come a little bit full circle. For example, No Pill for Regret, I get choked out in the car by Gino. Whereas in the Super 8 films, it's Uncle Ed choking out my dad's friend Francis. There kind of seems to be common threads, common themes that he liked to touch on a lot.
So on No Pill for Regret, I also have a scene with him. I'm sitting between Hank and Mike's dad, and it's just interesting that Daryl and Mike are both on set, and Daryl's telling his dad what to do, and
Running out of ginger ale.
Mike's also kind of trying to tell his dad what to do, and you can see that they're trying to listen, but they're also like, hey, what are you doing? Hank's like, I wrote the fucking script. Mind your own business, which was hilarious. But they did what needed to get done in the end. But that was kind of cool to have both Daryl's dad and Mike's dad with me.
I can see the motivation in Daryl, and you can see how the father and the son kind of become each other.
The two like minds, right? The father and the son dynamic. Them coming from that kind of same DNA, that same culture, the same background, the same chaos, was able to produce all this.
As a kid, I used to draw my own comics starring the family dogs. I wanted to have them feel real and official, and to me that meant you needed a company name. My dad suggested Dollars and Donuts. Dollars was from his love of the Sergio Leone Dollars trilogy of westerns, and Donuts because I loved The Simpsons. So from the very beginning, hidden right there in the name, Dollars and Donuts Productions, is this idea of collaboration between father and son.
The Dollars and Donuts production team, I feel it has a heart and a soul, and the heart, all the people that are in the movies, everybody from holding up lights to holding up microphones, that heart's always going to be there, but part of the soul is gone, and that voice is gone, and it's something that we're going to have to fight to sort of get back into the stories that we do movies about. So that's something that I'm really going to miss.
Looking back, I kind of realized that Daryl and I, and really the rest of the guys, got close over the years because Hank would write stuff for us to do.
It's an awesome thing to think that it's because of Hank, it's because of his work that we all have come together and worked on these films. And without that, I would be missing out on friendships and having a body of work behind me that I'm proud of and I'm proud to be a part of. I am really grateful for that, That's an awesome thing for someone to do.
I don't really feel him as gone, right? Like, especially like being able to have that relationship with him, to be able to play the characters that he wrote, the words that he put down on the paper, the words that we produced and people saw and are available for the world to see now, right? His words are traveling through time in the future, whether somebody watches this stuff now, whether they watch it in 10 years from now. He's still alive. He's alive within our work. And on the next world, he's making sure that we're all overseen. He's doing what he can with Pa, and those guys are gonna make sure the Dollars and Donuts continues on its path to entertain more people, find a wider audience, to find a wider stage, right? That's what it's about. That's why we're doing all this. So he's still here.
It's several months now since he passed away, and it's still really, really hard for me to find words for it. And as much fun as we would poke at him for getting snippy or getting grumpy or whatever.
Take a seat and shut up. You're getting on my nerves.
The main image I have of him in my mind when I think about him is him laughing, joking, pulling a prank on someone, poking fun at someone, poking fun at himself.
That was me. Sorry, Pa.
And it just kind of, everything seems a little bit less funny now. I miss him a lot.
I'll tell you that Ann and I knew the family, grew up with the family. We had a lot of fun with your grandma and grandpa and your dad. We miss them. We miss them dearly, and I know it hurts. Always remember the good things about him. He was good, a lot of fun, and took care. He was really, really a good guy.
Hank, you've always been very important to me, almost like a second father, like when I wasn't with my own father, when I was hanging out, and I'm gonna miss you, always.
I want to say we're going to miss you. We're going to miss you, Hanky boy. You went too soon.
It's going to be very difficult to go on without him, but he did leave behind one last script that I intend to make into a movie that he would be proud of. I'm going to miss him very much. I love you, Dad. Thank you for everything.